about 3 words that can change your life. And gentlemen, we are the very worst at it. And it causes so much psychological damage, I think, to men. And women are so much better at this. So maybe, ladies, you could share with us some ideas and why you're so good at this. And I'll talk about these 3 things in just a moment. And the reason that we as men have a hard time with this and the repercussions are so dangerous is because our psyche is a little different. You know, our DNA is different than a woman. And so that you understand where I'm going on this, with regards to men, ultimately, men, they think first and feel second. And by the way, if you're watching this live, give me a 1 in the comments. If you're watching this on a replay, give me a 3 in the comments. And I do take time to acknowledge some of your comments, so I look forward to doing that as well. So again, men, they think first and feel second. Women, totally opposite. Women feel first and think second. So when that dynamic is totally different, this is why men and women often have a very difficult time getting together and working together, because of that dynamic. And when each one understands the natural dynamic of another, then communication can be so much better. So let's talk about these 3 words. And what's interesting, it's because of the lack of men applying these 3 words, not just knowing them, but applying them, that men, technically, they're twice as more apt to becoming alcoholic than women. I mean, when you go to the prisons, who are in there more? There's more men than women. That's a fact. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And I believe these 3 words have a lot to do with it. So let's talk about them, okay? All right. What are these 3 words? And when you see these 3 words, I don't want you to just stop here, because it's not rocket science, but I want to share with you also the dynamics and how dangerous this can be for men if you don't take advantage of them. The 3 words are very simple: speak, the unspoken. Speak the unspoken. So women, remember, women feel first, think second. Men think first, feel second. So women feel first. So women, they talk about their what? They talk about their feelings. It's a no-brainer for women. It's like, okay, that's what we do. So they talk about how they feel. And when one woman shares a feeling to another woman, the other woman doesn't look and think, you know, in her mind, wow, she's kind of wimpy. She's sharing her feelings. Oh my goodness, she looks like she's starting to tear up. Oh my gosh, what a weak woman. That doesn't even come across their mind. Now, a guy to a guy, in most cases, he has a conversation, he starts, you know, tearing up. In the back of some people's mind, men, they're thinking, oh, that guy's kind of soft. Okay, let me give you an example. I had a conversation with a gentleman who was over hundreds and hundreds of employees, and something happened that was very sad, and he was talking to the employees about it. He started to get choked up, and he had to dismiss himself. And I asked him, why did you do that? And he said, well, I didn't want to come across as being weak. There lies the problem. So now if he says that in front of other men, then another man, or a man that heard that is within his camp of people that hangs around together, he's going to think, well, I'm not going to share something, I'm not going to share my thoughts with him and start showing emotion, because if I start showing emotion, what's going to happen? He's going to think I am what? I am weak. So now men bottle it up, and they bottle it up some more, and then they explode with anger or loose, you know, like a loose cannon. Then there's the drugs and the alcohol and so on and so forth. So let's talk about this a step further. Okay, now, with regards to The speaking the unspoken. I remember that when I left the cult, that was by far the most difficult thing I've ever had to do in my life. It's more challenging than my father being murdered, as crazy as it sounds. More challenging than my wife telling me my baby that we had is not mine. I mean, it was pretty intense. So one of the things I recommend that men do, especially women already have this figured out. They do it, they don't even do it consciously, they just do it. They have their own little pack, their little pack of girls that they can talk to about anything. So men, I believe that you should have 1, 2, 3, or 4 people, women or men, that you have a major problem that you feel that you can share your thoughts and have people not think less of you because you're showing emotion. Think about that. Do you have people right now in your life that you're comfortable doing that with? If you don't, you better find them. Why? Because sooner or later you're going to have problems if you don't already have them that you're going to need to share, and if you don't, you're going to drink them down or drug them up or whatever, or just keep them inside of you, not speak the unspoken, and it's going to fester, 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 and fester. I remember, never forget this. In fact, it's a little emotional talking about emotions for me to even share this with you. I remember when I had left the cult, there was a time I just came that close to having a nervous breakdown. I mean, I lost everything. I was $350,000 in debt. In this cult, your so-called friends and family are programmed to shun you for life, literally treat you as if you're dead. So if I would go into a store and see my former friends and or family, their processes, they turn their head away and they walk away from you. They make sure they have no eye contact with you and ignore you and treat you as if you're dead. That's a huge thing to swallow when you've been having these friends all your life. So just about to have this nervous breakdown, I called a very, very good friend of mine who was also raised in the cult but didn't stay in it as deep as I did. And I'm in tears driving on the highway. I said, look, I got to come over. I just need to come over and sit with you and just cry and cry because I know you get it. I drove over to his house and that's all I did. I sat down and I cried. And I said, there's nothing you need to do. I just need to cry. I need to get it out. And we talk about it from time to time. And I knew I could go to he and his wife and they not think less of me because they understood what I went through. And that's why it's so important to have people like that in your life. Choose them, find them consciously. Because if you don't, it is going to come up in a very, very untimely manner. So that is why it's so important to speak the unspoken. Speak the unspoken. Are there things right now in your life, are there things presently right now in your life that you should be speaking? Something that's been an irritant that could be boiling up to the point that if you don't do something about it, it could be really, really dangerous. And are you at the point now where you're doing things that are not healthy because you're not sharing it? Something for you to think about. In fact, I think you should have a friend or a group of friends that you have a conversation with, kind of like a will, you know? If you die, you do this, and this, okay? So, hey, I have a friend, or find a friend and say, look, if I get into some major problems mentally or things start irritating me, I want you to be the person that I can share the unspoken with. And you know, you let them know, and you don't typically look for somebody and say, hey, I want to share the unspoken with, but at the same time, I don't want you to judge me. You should already know who that person is and not have to tell them that, all right? I have a very, very good friend of mine, a female friend of mine, that, oh my gosh, I can tell her anything. She never once says things like, Gary, you know, you talk about how to be this way and that way, and I can't believe you're thinking that way. Because she understands that I'm human like everybody else, and she allows me to speak the unspoken. And here's another thing. Never, and I repeat, never, never punish somebody for speaking the unspoken. If you punish somebody for speaking the unspoken, they will never come to you again. And I don't care how much you apologize. It's going to be very difficult. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you come to me, you want to speak the unspoken, and it's something that's really heavy on your heart, and you share it with me, and I say something like this to you. I can't believe you would even think that way. Are you serious? I just punished you for speaking the unspoken. So now, the next time you have something to share, you're not going to want to come to me because you're probably going to hear, you really think that way? You're wanting me to be in your shoes. You're wanting me to be more understanding. You're wanting me to be sympathetic. You're wanting me to listen. That's the type of people that you need when it comes to speaking the unspoken. Anyway, I could go on and on and on and on. If you'd like to find out more information on this and many topics about how to be mentally strong and the things that you need to do to break through and move through the things that have happened to you in your past, check out the links below in the comment of my Move Toward Emotional Freedom program. Hope for those of you who are celebrating the holiday, you have an amazing holiday over the next day or two as you celebrate. And I will be looking forward to your comments below, responding to them. And between now and the next time we get to chat, don't let anything or anyone rent space in your head. And remember to do what? 3 words. What are they? Speak the unspoken. It could